Good morning, children. Sairam. Children, today in history, we will continue with lesson number 9 Heritage Management, Part 2. Children, in Part 1 online session, we had discussed about the sources of history and the necessary training required for their conservation and preservation. Today, let us proceed further and learn about some famous museums. Children, have you ever been to a museum? Have you ever thought why were museums created? The children, museums were created to organize and manage the antiquities collected by the members of royal and elite families of medieval Europe. So, children, the museums were created to organize and manage the antiquities. Antiquities could be any objects or it could be any building, any art form which belongs to ancient past. So these all were collected by the members of royal and elite families of medieval Europe, and then they were organized and managed by the museums. Just have a look, children, the members of the elite and royal families of Europe. Let us learn about Louvre Museum in France, that is Paris. Now, children, the Louvre Museum in Paris was established in the 18th century CE. Antiquities collected by the members of royal family were exhibited in the Louvre Museum. So, children, the Louvre Museum in Paris, it was established in 18th century, and whatever were the antiquities collected by the members of the royal family, they were exhibited in the Louvre Museum. Now, children, it included the much acclaimed painting of Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, the world renowned artist. Just have a look, children. You all know about the painting of Mona Lisa. Yes, it was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. He was a very famous artist. So this painting is exhibited in Louvre Museum in France or Paris. And Leonardo da Vinci, he worked under the patronage of Francis I, the King of France, in the 16th century. So children, what do you mean by patronage? The patronage means, children, the support or any financial help which is required by the artist, okay, and it is fulfilled by the kings of that particular nation or country. So Leonardo da Vinci, he worked under the patronage of Francis I, the King of France, in the 16th century. The collection in the Louvre Museum, now it has increased to a greater extent because of the antiquities brought back by Napoleon Bonaparte from his conquest. So he has conquered so many regions, Napoleon Bonaparte, and the collection in the museum, it has increased because of the conquest by Napoleon Bonaparte. Now presently, this museum, it contains more than 3,80,000 artifacts. So it has now more than 3,80,000 artifacts. Okay. Now let us learn about British Museum, England. The British Museum in London was established in the 18th century CE. Sir Hans Sloane, a natural scientist, he handed over about 71,000 objects in his collection to the King of England, George II. So children, the British Museum in London, it was established in 18th century, and 71,000 objects which were collected by Sir Hans Sloane. He was a natural scientist and he had handed over all these objects to King of England, that is George II. So just have a look, children. Sir Hans Sloane, he was a natural scientist and he had handed over how many objects, children? 71,000 objects in this collection to the King of England, George II. Now children, it included several books, pictures, specimens of preserved plants, that is herbarium, etc. Herbarium, they are basically the dried plants, leaves. Okay, so they are specimens of preserved plants. Later, the collection was expanded by the addition of various art objects and ancient artifacts which were collected by the British people from British colonies. So, children, first 71,000 objects were given by Sir Hans Sloane, and later on it was increased. How it was increased? Because of the ancient artifacts collected by the British people, okay, from the British colonies. Just have a look at this herbarium, children. These are some plants, okay, dried plants. Now, children, presently this museum's collection, it comprises about 80 lakh objects. How many objects, children? 80 lakh objects, okay. Now, next one, children. National Museum of Natural History. It's in United States of America. Now, children, this Museum of Natural History, managed by Smithsonian Institution, was established in 1846 CE. So, children, this museum, that is National Museum of Natural History, it was managed by Smithsonian Institution. It was established in 1846 CE. So, this museum is managed by Smithsonian Institution, okay, and it houses more than 12 crore, or you can say 120 million specimens of fossils and remains of plants and animals, minerals, rocks, human fossils and artifacts. So, in this museum, what is being exhibited? Specimens of fossils, remains of plants and animals, minerals, rocks, human fossils and artifacts. Just have a look, children. Okay, 120 millions, okay, artifacts and all these are exhibited in this museum. Now, let us learn about museums in India. The first museum in India, Indian Museum, was established by Asiatic Society of Bengal in Kolkata in 1814 CE. If you remember in your second lesson, you have learnt about this, right? Asiatic Society of Bengal by William Jones, right? It was established in Kolkata in 1814 CE. So, the first museum in India, yes, the first museum is Indian Museum, and it was established by Asiatic Society of Bengal in Kolkata. In which year, children? 1814 CE. Just have a look, children. Indian Museum in Kolkata. The second museum in India, Government Museum, was established in Chennai in 1851 CE. So, second museum is Government Museum. And where it is established? In Chennai in 1851 CE. Okay, so Government Museum, just have a look, established in Chennai. The National Museum was established in Delhi in 1949. Presently, there are several museums in various states of India. Now, children, let us learn about some famous museums in India. The following are some of the famous museums in India: Indian Museum, Kolkata; National Museum, Delhi; Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya, Mumbai; Salarjung Museum, Hyderabad; the Calico Museum of Textiles, Ahmedabad. Just have a look, children. National Museum, it's in Delhi; Indian Museum, Kolkata; Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya, Mumbai; Salarjung Museum in Hyderabad; Calico Museum of Textiles, Ahmedabad. So, children, usually the big museums, they have their own archives and libraries. So, if the museums are big enough, they have their own archives and libraries. And some museums are affiliated to universities. They are attached to universities. So, there are some museums, they offer courses in museology. So, following are some of the well-known institutes and universities which offer degree and diploma courses in museology. National Museum, Delhi, Maharaj Sayaji Rao University, Vadodara, Kolkata University, Kolkata, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, Jivaji University, Gwalior. So children, these are the famous museums. Okay, they are all offering courses in museology. National Museum, Delhi, then you have Maharaj Sayaji Rao University, Vadodara, then Kolkata University in Kolkata, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, and Jivaji University in Gwalior. Just have a look, children. National Museum, Delhi, Maharaj Sayaji Rao University, Vadodara, Kolkata University, Kolkata, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, Jivaji University, Gwalior. Okay. Now let us learn about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya. Children, in 1904 CE, some influential residents of Mumbai, they decided to establish a museum to commemorate the visit of Prince of Wales to India. So children, in 1904 CE, some residents, okay, they were very influential, and they decided to establish a museum to welcome, the Prince of Wales to India. So in the month of November of 1905 CE, the foundation was laid of the museum building. It was decided that the name of the museum would be Prince of Wales Museum of Western India. So children, some influential people, they decided to establish a museum, and in the month of November of 1905 CE, the foundation was laid, and was decided that the museum would be named as Prince of Wales Museum of Western India. Then later on, children, it was renamed as Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya in 1998 CE. So in 1998 CE, it was renamed as Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya. So children, this building of the museum is built in Indo-Gothic style, and it has been given the status of grade 1 heritage building in Mumbai. You all know it is a, it's a grade 1 heritage building in Mumbai. It is given the status of that, and the museum houses about 50,000 antiquities divided into 3 categories: arts, archaeology, and natural history. So children, this museum is built in Indo-Gothic style. Now children, Indo-Gothic style means it incorporates the elements of different styles of architecture like Muslims, then Marathas and Jain. Therefore, it is known as Indo-Gothic style, and it has been given the status of grade 1 heritage building in Mumbai. And the museum houses more than 50,000 antiquities. How many children? 50,000 antiquities. And it's divided into 3 categories: arts, archaeology, and natural history. So children, today we had learnt about some famous museums. Okay. Now children, we will be continuing the remaining part in our next class. Till then, take care. Sai Ram.